Yeah. So I'm based out in London, England. So it's about 10:30 at night and stuff. But yeah, no,
Wow.
but our shows really has been over the past couple of months or so. Been talking to artists from the 90s, some from the 80s and stuff, just about their journey, individual journey into music,
Okay.
some of the highs, the lows, and you know how music is now, but and what you're up to now. And but yeah, so it's about must be the music is because you released three albums, you've had hits.
Yes. Yes.
Not everyone has had that opportunity. Not everyone has has had that success. So it
Yeah. Yeah.
must have been a special thing for you guys that no matter what where things are now that you've made it. So it's just to understand that journey. So I know a little bit about Profile, but it's really going to start off with yourself. Are you also from Louisiana with the rest of the guys? Or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I was born and raised here. Yeah.
so okay,
I
so
started
how did
singing. I started singing in middle school, I think. Yeah.
okay? Now you have to understand we're in the UK, so we use a different education system. So what is middle school? How are you guys?
Uh, I was about 13, 14 when I started
Okay,
singing in front of people. Yeah.
okay, so that's like
I
our
was out.
secondary school here. So okay,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
okay,
So yeah, I started there, and it was basically like a competition every day. Like neighborhood kids who could sing, their friends would put them up against each other to see who sounded best, and that's how basically I got started.
yeah. But then where did you actually? I guess if I was 13 and somebody said let's sing, I wouldn't be able to win anything because I didn't have the voice. So were you learning to sing before that, or what did you do?
Well, I was good at mocking people, like learning different voices and tones and things like that. And anybody I listened to, I can sound like. So I was like any woman, any man, I could match their tone and sound like them singing their song. And I was really good at that, especially when my voice was higher as a
Yeah,
kid. Like, yeah, but when I turned 13, 14, 15, I started sounding more like a man. And
yeah.
uh, it was just easy for me to pick it up and how they did the notes and stuff. I wasn't like any music class. I didn't come up in church, like that.
But when you were doing this, did people around you recognize, well, this is a talent, or was it just a job?
Yeah,
Like how? Okay,
yeah. They was like, you really good. Like, how you learn how to do this? Like, man, I'm just listening. Like, listening to the radio. I'm listening to Eddie Murphy in movies and mocking his voice and his stand-ups and stuff, and listening to how he sung Michael Jackson or how he sung Elvis.
yeah,
And I would mock what he was doing, and
yeah,
I saw how easy it was to sound like people.
yeah. But then once you recognized, people thought, okay, this is something. When did you start to think, okay, maybe I should try and progress with this?
That's when I was probably my last year in middle school,
Yeah.
and there was some guys that was in high school at the time. They heard me and they had a group, and they was like, man, we need you to sing with us. And that's when I started getting into when people start asking me to do it. I knew I was good. Like,
Okay.
other than that, they'll be like, man, you need to shut up because it's very harsh here.
Okay.
Very
Okay.
harsh here. If they
Yeah.
don't like you, they will let you know. So
Yeah. 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 No, but the but I do wonder though, because singing, you know, we look up and admire singers now, but I'm wondering back in those days and where you're from, were singers mocked or were they revered or if you had that talent, people was playing sports and stuff and you're singing, how was it looked like?
if you were singing in church,
Yeah.
you were amazing. Okay. If you were singing secular music, you were kind of looked down upon here.
Okay.
Because when I started, it was like in the early 80s,
Okay.
like late 80s, something like that. Early 80s, yeah. So it was a big gospel community here. So that's all they wanted to hear. They didn't want to hear you sing or blues. That was
Oh
it.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it wasn't a big R&B community here. Like, but the kids loved it. Like the kids I went to school with. But
yeah.
most of them sung in church. You know what I'm saying? So they was accepted in their church. But when they sung R&B music, they was like, "Don't do that." Their parents would tell them, "You can't do that." So
Wow.
I was one. I was a rebel myself. Like I was always singing R&B.
So about that time, what was out that you were singing?
We had Levert, uh,
Okay, just good
Casanova.
at Casanova,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it was stuff like that. You had the Whispers. You had
Okay.
Yeah, around it was a lot of great R&B music then. And then you had your soul singers, Marvin Gaye. You had they had music out, but I wasn't paying attention to them. I wasn't paying attention to them. I liked Levert. I love Casanova and stuff like that.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, no,
Rolls Royce and yeah, it was a lot of different music. That like 85, something like that,
yeah.
83, 84, 85. That's when hip hop came out. So we was into that. So it was, and we in the South, so we was getting like New York stuff and LA stuff. We didn't have hip hop here, so it was
Yeah.
very different.
But then, so you were singing and picking this stuff up, and you said, but you went into gospel or anything like that. You were singing your stuff. When they picked you up for the group, what was it? What were they trying to sing? What kind of music?
Okay, when I got in the group, that was in 90, 92.
No, you said in high school, when you were last year in middle school.
Yeah, that was my last year, like
yeah.
89 to 90. So
Okay.
90, 91, that's when I started going to the high school stuff, and that was Boys to Men, and that's when we started getting into the group stuff. But that was the first group songs I started singing, because I had the group I was in, the high school guys, they didn't know how to harmonize.
Okay.
I had to go home and listen to Boys to Men and figure out the different parts and then teach them the parts.
Okay. And
I was the youngest person in the group.
Yeah, but were you guys writing, or was you just singing?
Yes, we had two members of the group that were writers, and one of them wanted to be a producer. But we was young, so we didn't have equipment, and back then you had to be in a real studio. It wasn't computerized like it is now.
Yeah.
So the producer was the guy that was beating on the table.
Yeah.
And the other guy was the one that came up with the lyrics, and they'll come up with songs, and I help arrange those songs. So yeah, when we started singing in front of people, and we'll sing Boys to Men, and we'll blow them away with that, and they'll be like, "Do y'all have a really good song?" We would come up with something that would start by beating on this, like we was in the cafeteria or something.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, that was nice. Do y'all have some music for it?" Be like, "Nah, that's all we got."
Did you ever think at that time that you're going to take it further, or was it just like something fun to do?
I didn't think we would take it further until we got a manager in high school.
In high school?
Yes. It was like a talent show where you had to impress this production team. And if you impressed them, they picked you up and they became your managers and producers and stuff. And they tried to do records and tried to get you signed to a record label.
Okay.
Yeah. So once we got signed to them, they took us to Philadelphia to meet Kenny Gamble. That was our first time leaving this region and just seeing what really like real music is.
Okay. Now, in my head, I'm thinking you're in high school and they're just picking you guys up to go to Philadelphia, and your folks are like, "Yeah, that's fine. Take care. We'll see when you get back." Or what were your parents thinking about the fact that this was going to happen?
Well, my mom, because I was at the time my mom and dad wasn't together. My dad was like, "Hey man, you got to do what you got to do." Like,
yeah,
this could be your last chance. So he was gung ho with it. My mom was like, "Nah, you need to stay in school."
Yeah.
But the school was encouraging us.
Okay.
Yeah, because our manager used to be able to come check us out of school like at any time and take us to go do a show in the middle of school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a wild upbringing for me.
Yeah. See, I went to college in Alabama, so I've lived a bit in the South. But yeah, so
you know how strict it can be. You know how strict parents can be. And it wasn't that for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't. It was never that for me. My parents was always encouraging me to do it once they figured out it was something that I love to do.
Yeah. But it's amazing that the school can just say, "Yeah, leave school, go ahead and do this." And I think schools nowadays are a lot more structured. But then they just saw this as an opportunity just to get you something, get you motivated, or.
Yes, because they knew I didn't like being in school. They knew music class was the only thing I really paid attention in. Like when I did start taking a music class in high school, it was the only thing I really focused on. So when they saw I had a manager and all that stuff, and the other guys from the school, they was like, "You can go to." We was going to Atlanta to sing at all girls school. We was going to New Orleans. Like my manager come check us out to go do these things during school hours.
Okay.
So it was my extracurricular. Like you have basketball players and football players in the choir. We was just an extension of that because they seen how well we was doing.
Okay. Okay. And then you go to see Kenny Gamble. So this is not the famous Kenny Gamble from Motown, no?
No, not Kenny Gamble from Philadelphia International Records. He's the one who put out Teddy Pendergrass and Phyllis Hyman and those people.
Okay, I've just seen the Teddy Pendergrass out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So
I
you
met
go.
him when I was 15.
So you went to. Do you have to audition for him as a group?
Yes. This wasn't Profile though. This was a group I was in before Profile.
Yeah, yeah. So when you guys went, what was his feedback when he saw you guys?
He loved us. He was like, we can do some nice stuff, but he was trying to explain to us a sound that he wanted us to do. And the sound ended up being neo soul, because he was saying he needed us to go back and take some of these songs and put them over a hip hop beat with kind of jazzy chords. And we didn't understand what he was saying. So by the time we got back, we broke up.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, no, but I was trying to say, but based on what you're describing, what was that, like Blue Notes type of, Blue Notes had the sort of, who was doing that type of song that he wanted you guys to do?
Nobody was doing it. Nobody was doing it, but he described it to us. He was like, I need y'all to go back and do this. And if y'all could send me 5 songs like this, then we probably can do something. But he described neo soul to us. Like that's what that ended up being from Philly, that sound.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking to us about. But we didn't understand what he was saying because we wasn't doing jazz chords. We didn't understand the hip hop cadence. You see what I'm saying? Like the beats. And the producers down here where we from, they definitely wasn't doing that type of music.
Yeah, yeah. So this was around what
we wasn't musicians at the time, you know what I mean? Like we were just singers. So all we understood was what we was doing. We didn't understand the musical aspect of what he was asking us to do.
What year was this? Around what year was this?
93, 92, 93.
So as I said, I was in Alabama, so 95 boys. So you had Luke, so you had that type of music in the South. So I'm wondering how you're going to get producers to create sounds like in Philly that is very different.
Exactly. That's why we were so confused when we got back. Like he said, hip hop beats. Like, and first of all, understand, like we just getting a Southern hip hop down here. And the hip hop we had was booty shaking.
Yeah, from Miami and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like we
Tootsie Roll and all that.
Exactly, like it was foreign to us. So with the confusion and some of the other stuff that was happening in that group, we ended up going our separate ways, and I ended up going to another school.
So when that happened, how was that for you? Did you think I've missed my shot? We've all.
I did, because the manager at the time we had. It was out. I ain't gonna say it was all because of him, but he maneuvered a lot of that stuff for us to happen. And when it didn't happen, he felt betrayed in a certain type of way.
Did he think that because you guys didn't take it seriously? Was he? Or did he? Or
yes,
what was?
Exactly. We didn't take it serious enough to even try to do what was asked. Like we didn't focus. We came back like we already had a deal with no paperwork in hand. You see what I'm saying? Like it was an arrogance that we came back with that really hurt us as a group.
What did you learn from that when you guys went your separate ways and that opportunity went out the door? What did you personally learn from that?
If you don't have a deal, like you don't have a deal, like you can have a chance at a deal, but you can always mess that up. Like until you got that paperwork and you negotiating the deal, you don't have a deal.
Yeah.
So you gotta be focused, like, and you gotta sometimes sacrifice what you feel like to learn something.
Did it make you more determined, or did you think that I said I'm going to do something else, or what was it?
Nah, I didn't know what I was going to do. I honestly didn't know what was going to happen next. I just lived the next day like it was like a regular day, and I went to the new school because I got in trouble at that school. So I had to go to a new school, and that's when I ran into the guys from Profile. So it was like it all happened the way it was supposed to. Because Hershey walked up to me within a week of me moving back to the neighborhood.
So when you were doing the music and with the group, were you a lot more focused and not getting into trouble? And then when that disbanded, it was
Absolutely. But it didn't take long for me to start getting in trouble after we came back. Like it was that week I got in trouble. Like the week we got back.
Wow.
Like it was. Yeah, I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. Like that wasn't in the cards for me. It was supposed to be like that. Like,
Yeah.
then my mama didn't care. Like my dad didn't care. Like they was just go get what you supposed to be getting. Like
Yeah.
if school not teaching you nothing, if you feel like school not teaching you nothing, go learn. Like, and they've always been like that with me. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes school here in the States, they don't like, they're not teaching you nothing. They just babysit. So it's
yeah.
like, I'm not learning nothing here. I can learn so much. That's why a lot of people might drop out and go do what's on the block, because
Yeah.
they learning something. They feel like they're getting something from that.
Yeah.
You learn the same stuff from the 9th grade to the 12th. That's 4 years. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, you telling me the same thing every day, every week, every month. I don't want to hear that, man. I ain't making no money like that. We got bills in my mama's house.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as I said, I was in Selma, Alabama for a bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Before moving.
Yeah.
So
you sound real poor.
Yeah. So before I moved into the Midwest and to LA, but then so you moved to a new school and you meet, you know, Hershey and the rest of the guys from Profile. What was the difference? You know, how does that encounter? What did they see in you that?
We were all hungry. That's what it was. Like, the arrogance that the other group had, these guys didn't have. Like, we were all underdogs in this. So it was like, I found a new hunger with them.
Were they already singing as a trio and then you joined in, or what was the kid?
They already had a four-piece. So
Okay.
when they added me that night, we started singing together. Because when I sang them the first time, it was a four-piece, and I was in my group. So again, like the competition stuff, our manager said, y'all, because they were singing End of the Road upstairs at the place we was at. And they sounded okay, but we knew we sounded better. And our manager said, y'all show them how it sounds. So when we started singing it, they came downstairs and started listening to us. And that was my first time seeing them. So when I moved back to the neighborhood, I was at a school shooting basketball by myself, just getting some shots up. And Hershey walked up to me like, hey, man, ain't you that guy from, you named the group and all that? I was like, yeah. He's like, man, you ought to hear us now. We sound real good. So I walk around to the house with him. Like, for real, I walk around to his house with him, and they sung for me. And I was like, y'all do sound good. And that was on probably like a Tuesday, and they had a talent show that they had to do that Thursday. And I did that talent show. So I got in the group just that fast.
But there was 5 of you in the group at that time? Okay.
And it was me, Hershey Face, Baby Boy, and there was a guy named Dre. But Dre ended up, he really wanted to play football. So he ended up doing that.
Okay. And so then that's how the 4 of you just started off.
And
then
we were together for a while.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were called Under 21.
Oh, you were called Under 21?
Yeah, that was our name at first. That's when we was like 16, 17. I think Face was the oldest one at 19.
Okay.
So we worked until everybody turned 21, up under 21, and then we changed the name to Profile.
How did that name change come about?
We knew we was getting old, like, and we had did all the stuff we could do around here. Like, we had met Teddy Riley already. We had met Usher. We had met a lot of people doing concerts and talent shows around here, and we had got our name out, you know. But we knew we had to leave, and before we did that, we knew we had to change the name. So
when you met them, did you under 21? But were you? So when they would come into town, like maybe Blackstreet and stuff, is that when they would have you as opening acts, or what was the deal?
Yep, that's how we ended up meeting Teddy Riley and Usher.
Okay.
And probably Mystical and all these people before we even got a deal with Motown.
So when at this time, did you guys go back to your old manager that you had, or how did you? What did you just decide to work?
Exactly. When I got into the group Under 21, Face said, man, what happened to the manager I had? And I told him where he was, and then he like, man, we need to go get him. So that was our Face. Face was like, man, we need to go get a manager. So I took him to the car lot that Reggie owned, because the guy's name was Reggie Smalls. So I took him to the car lot that Reggie owned, and Reggie was not trying to hear nothing about managing a group, no singing, no music, or nothing.
Okay.
Like, I'm done with all that. Remember, I told you felt betrayed by the other group.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to hear none of that, man. So I said, you know what? We just need to sing for him. So we stood there and we sung for him, and he came out the office like, what y'all trying to do? Like, what y'all want? And after that, he put a lot into trying to get us a deal, getting us in studios and around producers who can at least try to listen to our ideas and put some music around it. We ended up meeting Musa Moore, in Arlington, Texas, at an Erykah Badu concert.
Wow.
And he and his girlfriend, Sandra St. Victor, put together our demo and got us to Motown.
Wow.
But we had been with Reggie probably like 2 or 3 years, like traveling around this region, just trying to get heard by like radio stations and stuff like that before we met Musa.
So what he was able to do was get you into concerts and get you to network, but he couldn't get the final step.
Exactly. So when we was in when we met Musa and his girlfriend in Arlington, he said, "Can y'all get to New York?" And Reggie said, "Yes, we can." So Reggie went and bought a van.
Wow.
And we drove to New York.
And so he guys get you to now. At this time, were you guys creating, writing, producing, or what were you guys? Or were you just singing covers like "Shy" and "Boys to Men" and all that stuff?
Pretty much, we were just singing covers. We was trying to write, but we didn't like the ideas. We knew they weren't good enough, so we was like, "Nah, let's just keep on singing these covers until we got the right song."
Yeah.
So yeah, and when we get in front of people, yeah, we were singing like solo. Remember they had the Sam Cooke thing at the end of the album.
Yeah.
A little medley. We'll do that. We'll sing like some oh, don't you know my life is in his hands? The Player had on their album. Like we was doing all the acapella stuff that we could find.
Okay.
And Boys to Men, like it was, yeah, we did what was it?
Was it
Talk About It Yesterday. Okay. Yeah, we wouldn't do a lot of Shot, but we would do Boys to Men and Jodeci. We did Jodeci a lot though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come and Talk to Me and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was KC at the time.
Yeah.
I wanted to be KC.
Yeah, what good is he? Yeah, he came. Deep South had the voice and stuff.
Yeah, sound like a dude.
Yeah. So Musa brings you to, says, get to New York. At this point, did you guys think this is it? I mean, what were you guys doing actually after that? Were you guys working? How were you guys making ends meet?
We had jobs. Like I think me and Baby Boy were working inventory. Hershey and Face were waiters at a club down here. So yeah, we was just working regular jobs, and then we'd come together and practice, and and if we had shows, most of the time, like back then, it was just like talent show stuff. There wasn't a lot of shows to be had. There wasn't a lot of live bands and stuff out that was doing cover tunes back then.
Yeah,
that's the thing that happened later in the years. But right now, I mean, back then, we wasn't doing that. So it's just basically us just being prepared for the trips. Like Reggie tell us when we leave, so we'll practice enough to make sure we're not making no mistakes.
Yeah. So when you said you met Usher and Teddy and all these good things, had you already met up with Musa and gone to New York, or was it still when you guys were still local?
Yeah, we were still local then. Yeah, we were still local, so we'll be like opening up for concerts. Just it, like, and we wouldn't make a lot of money, probably like $200.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. We were just hungry. Like, we were trying to do anything and everything. We were going to hotels singing for Dino from H-Town. Like, just whatever for them to hear us. Like, hear what we doing. We in your face all day. And Reggie made us like that.
And but then when you say Usher, Teddy, when they see you and hear you perform and see you, maybe if they got to see you guys open up, what feedback were they giving you?
Teddy wanted to work with us. The manager, the producer that we had at the time wasn't trying to talk to Teddy.
What?
Because he was like, we good with records. Yeah, he was like, we good. He was like, no, we not. So, but I'm glad everything happened the way it did, because we ended up meeting Teddy later.
Yeah.
He remembered it. You see what I'm saying? Like, he remembered us. Like, when he met us in the studio, he was like, yeah, y'all under 21. He said that.
But then I don't get it, because here's Teddy, who's, by the time
he's a people person though.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, he's if he meets you, he'll remember you. Like, he's not one of those funny type people. That's one thing I've learned about Teddy. Like, anytime I've seen him from the last time I've seen him in the studio, every time he's seen me since then, he's acknowledged me. Yeah,
but I'm getting that. Okay, you've got from Guy to Blackstreet, and he's done Michael Jackson, and he says, you guys are good, I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your manager saying? Like, how do we go? I mean, I'm trying to understand who's blocking the door, and why couldn't you guys?
It's the producer / manager. Like him and this was before Reggie, we had like a producer / manager, and I started working with him first before I brought the rest of the guys in. So
Okay.
we did have some music, him and I. So when he told Teddy that, I was like, no, we not. Like, we need to work with him. Like, I want to work with him. But this guy, you know, some producers, they don't care how big the other guy is because they want control. It's about a dominance thing. It's about control of the material. Like, he knew if he would have let us go work with Teddy, we was gonna go work with Teddy. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it was like he wanted to keep control over us. But once we found out he was stealing money, we had to let him go. And that's when Reggie came into play.
Okay. Okay.
I just don't like to acknowledge the other guy. Because,
Yeah. But then I wondered, okay, good. It's a very hard thing. That's, you know, you've got one of the biggest producers ever say,
yeah,
I want to
it was
work
a
with you
silly
guys.
move. It was a very silly move.
What
But
did the other
you know,
three
with us,
sing? Did they
I,
say?
yeah, they was very upset. Like, why we not talking to him? Like, yeah, it was we knew it wasn't a smart move. Like,
Yeah.
even at that time, we was like, but that's what started causing a rift between us and him. Like, we
Okay.
already had some feelings in the situation about certain things that was happening, like
Yeah.
money wise. But when stuff like that started happening, we started saying, you actually blocking us
Mm.
from a shot with somebody that's really working.
Yeah.
So then we had to make a decision, like, y'all want to stay with him, or y'all want to, the paperwork is over in like 3 months. Y'all want to go ahead and send him the termination paper?
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah,
you
like, we
signed
was on the
some.
paperwork with this guy.
Okay. So did you guys learn about the business that early? Because then I think that's the one thing that when I'm spoken to a lot of artists, past and they talk about the business early days. They didn't really know. They wanted their shot and they didn't realize. Did you learn about the publishing and the contracts and all that stuff?
We learned about management. We learned about how what management should be able to do and shouldn't be able to do. Like, we didn't learn about I didn't learn about publishing until way later when I had to defend myself in front of the label with Motown. But with back then, with all we knew was about we just knew we had paperwork with him and he was getting 20%. That's it. Like, that's all we understood about the
Okay.
management paperwork. And we
Okay.
understood, we knew when the term was up. Like, we knew how long we had in the contract. Like, we would
Yeah.
always know that type of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, yeah, we always knew that about every manager. It's just when you start dealing with labels and they advising you with lawyers and stuff like that, they try to make you really feel like it's a family.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's all business, but they sucker you in with the family and the bros and the I love yous and let's go out to eat, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, they don't tell you like that this coming out your budget. You know, you
Yeah.
don't learn that stuff until they send you this big booklet of
Yeah.
what you spent.
Yeah. So, I mean, Musa brings you out to New York. You
Mhm.
record. Did you record some demos before he takes you to Motown, or what was the deal?
Well, before we went to New York, we had some demos already that we recorded here,
Yeah.
and we took those to New York with us. So when we met with Musa and Sandra, they had us to come to Warner Brothers the first time we met them. So we went to Warner Brothers, played our demo. It was like, this sucked. So, and that's exactly what they did. They said, nah, we can't take this, no labels. So what they did is they drew up a production contract for us. And we ended up signing a production deal with them.
Wow.
And we came back home and we negotiated the production deal, and they had us to come back and stay for a couple weeks while we recorded a new demo. And yeah, we stayed up there, and they took us around to a lot of open mics and stuff up there so we can like people can see us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I felt like a start in. Like, and we ain't have no music out because the way those people made us feel at those open mics, I felt like we was amazing because they was like, who are these dudes? Like, where they come from? And we were
Yeah.
singing, it was a solo song we were singing. I forgot what song it was. But by the end of the second week, the band that played at those places, they was like, hey, those dope old dudes right there, tell them to come up here. They was calling us to the mic.
Wow.
So when we came back, when we was getting ready to leave, that's now when we left, we had to go back a third time. Yeah. And that's when we got the call from Keto the day we was getting ready to leave to ask us, can we stay and have a meeting with him?
At Motown.
Well, at the time it was Keto Entertainment. Like, it was his company. Like
Okay.
he took, yeah, we got moved over when he took over presidency of Motown. But when
Okay.
we got signed, we were signed to Kedar Entertainment with Erykah Badu, and I think it was just us, Erykah, and Chico DeBarge.
Yeah. Okay. But then but I'm even wondering because you've got a production deal with Musa, you've got your manager, you're paying 20%, then you're with Kedar, so there's lots of people already taking pieces before anything comes in.
Now, when we got signed to Kedar,
Yeah.
they bought Musa's production deal out.
Okay.
So that was the only way he could sign us if he bought the contract from Musa.
Okay.
So I think that was 50K. Yeah,
Okay.
I think they gave him 50. And in that buyout, they got to put one of the songs from the demo on our first album.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that was how we got signed. It was a real deal. Like they got money and
Yeah.
they let us release and all this shit. Like they was fighting with the label. They was fighting with Kedar before we even signed. Like it was a negotiation. Like, but it was attitudes and all kinds of craziness. I was like, wow.
But how did you feel? I mean, so here's the four of you guys. You've got Kedar, saying, okay, I'm going to buy you guys out. I'm going to really do something here. What was, what happens then? Were you guys quitting your jobs and just like going in hotels, or would you just like, nope, business as usual?
Now when we knew we was getting signed, we came back home for probably like 2 weeks. The third day after we got home, the contracts were here.
Wow.
From Kedar. Like we remember what I said the first time, if you don't see that paperwork, ain't no deal. Like when we got here in that third day and we see them contracts show up, it's like, okay, we got to work now. So now us four, we sit down, each one of us with our contracts at my uncle's house, and we looking over these contracts to see what we like and what we don't like before we talk to our manager.
Yeah.
So and before that, we had to go have a meeting at Kedar's office. Yeah, that's when we met Kedar, we didn't meet Kedar face to face. He was on the phone in his office. A&R Shantae Page was in there and Kojo was in there. Those were the only three people, with only two people physically in the room. But we saw for Kedar over the phone.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, so what y'all trying to do? It's like, what you trying to do? He's like, y'all go home, I'll send y'all some paperwork, and that's what he did.
Now, you mentioned about the booklet. Did you guys know, because as I said, I'm hearing stories all the time. Did you guys know, okay, we'll give you 20% and all this is going to be paid for. We're going to own everything that you do. And you have, did you see all of that? Okay.
No, but you know what? We kind of knew that, first of all, going into the deal, because we already knew we didn't have a publishing deal with them. So we knew, like, and then the first 5 songs that we got were from Joe. Like, they sent us music before we even started recording. Like, before we even left to go to New York, we had songs from Joe. So we had to learn these songs because this was what we was gonna record. It wasn't none of our stuff, so we knew, like, they gonna own this. Like, we're not gonna own this.
Yeah.
Like, but we wasn't real. Again, we just wanted to sing. Like, we wasn't really thinking about the business at all. Like, we was 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
We was just excited to be out of our known environment.
Yeah.
We was in New York now, you know what I mean? Like, we in the studio with Joe. I just bought his album, you know what I mean? Like, I love this dude.
Yeah.
Like, I learned so much from that dude, but it's like that, we was all like mind blown. You gotta understand, man, we from Shreveport, Louisiana. The furthest my group members have been was like Atlanta.
Yeah.
In the Philly. But they ain't been outside the South like that.
Yeah.
So for us to move from here and go to New York, man, no. What you eating? Couscous. No, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, like it was a total culture shock for us.
Yeah.
So, and it was a learning experience. Like, we coming from the South, people like, why y'all talking like that? You know what I mean? Like, so it was weird. You know what I mean? I felt like I was in school again.
Yeah. But was Reggie still with you guys at this time?
Yes. But at this point, him and Musa were partnering up as managers. Okay. So Musa was our manager now, and Reggie was our co-manager. which caused another situation, because that move was made because Kedar told them that Musa needed to be our manager.
Oh, so this is part of the buyout, some of the stuff where, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think that happened in the buyout. This was just like who they felt like they had access to. See what I'm saying? Like Reggie didn't live up there, but Musa did.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like once we got this deal with Kedar, Kedar made it a point to say, y'all need to make this dude y'all manager. You see what I'm saying? Like I can communicate better with this person.
Wow.
Because we kind of from the same place. You see what I'm saying? Like it was I don't know. And it was something weird that happened in our first meeting that Kedar didn't like. So he was like, nah, I can't rock like this. Like y'all need to make him y'all manager or we're gonna have a problem.
Now you guys have got this opportunity and you've just been told fire him or get nothing. How did you guys deliberate, and do you guys have a meeting and say, no, we need to intercede and pray? And so what happened?
Yeah. We had to sit down and have a meeting and like really talk about the pros and cons of us making a decision like that. Like how would it benefit us and why he asking us to do this. You see what I'm saying? Like I could see if I don't know, I could tell you what happened, but I don't want to do that because of the person. Like I don't want to tell you what happened that made him say, hey, y'all need to, we can't do that. But it was something that if somebody came in the meeting and they did this, you would be like, nah, I can't work with you. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a certain decorum that you come into a meeting with. I don't care what you went through yesterday. Like, but when you come into this meeting is very important. This is the most important thing today.
Yeah.
And if you let anything get in the way of that, that is a choice that you made.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So and when he made the decision to say either y'all gonna change our manager or look, and it wasn't like we weren't gonna get the deal because we already had the deal.
Yeah.
But it was like he knew he would have had to put somebody in that place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If we didn't make the decision, he would have still had to make sure that this get done. He would have had to make sure because he just did a deal with us. He didn't do the deal with the manager.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then was it a hard decision because of loyalty, or did you,
Yes, it was a very hard decision, but that's why we made him co-manager, because we're not just gonna fire you, but we do need to put you in a place where you're still able to make your money. You see what I'm saying? Because you did a lot for us, and we ain't just gonna cut you off. You see what I'm saying? Like we still gonna let you make your money, but at the same time, you're not gonna have the power that you felt like you had.
Yeah, yeah. How long did that last for?
It lasts up until we started, probably like the second album. That's when we started seeing weird stuff, like weird money stuff happen. Like
okay.
Money coming up missing, and it's like we know where it's going, bro. Like you stealing, so now we gotta let you go. Like, come on, man, we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But you stealing from us. Like we gotta stop it. Like we can't keep letting it go on, and we ain't have good advisors around us.
Yeah. But if we go back then to the first album, just before we move on to that, so you've got Joe Thomas in the studio working with you guys. He was a revelation when he came out with his albums. I mean, I was buying his albums because he was like, wow, hit after hit after hit. Don't Want to Be a Player. He was Why Do Good Girls. It was almost like, wow, this guy's just almost a breath of fresh air, and he's writing for you guys. You're in the studio, proper stuff. And then, but around Motown, I know Chico as well. But then, did who else were you guys seeing in the meeting, that you'd seen on TV when you were still getting your album ready?
Well, Erica, Brian McKnight, because he was on Motown at the time.
Oh, yeah, Brian McKnight,
yeah, Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder,
Are you kidding me?
Robinson. Yeah, like when Kedar took over Motown, they had a party like 2 nights later, and I met Prince. Yeah, like Erica just had her baby, and she had her baby in there. Like it was wild. I was like, Stevie Wonder talk to me. I was like, this is amazing. Like, it felt like a dream. Like I wasn't expecting to meet these people, bro. Like I just enjoy singing. You feel me? Like I didn't think it was gonna take me that far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that was to my detriment though, because sometimes, like you gotta feel like you belong in those rooms. You see what I'm saying? Like I felt like I didn't belong there. I felt like I was way out of place. Like, and they made me feel comfortable, but it was me. Like I didn't believe in myself enough to feel like I was supposed to be around that greatness. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that took a toll on me after a while.
In what way?
Anytime you like not believing in yourself, a lot of some people call it arrogance when you have confidence in yourself, especially unconfident people. But when you walk in your light, it does something for other people. Like, and when you dim your light because you feel like you're not good enough, you're doing a disservice to the world because you're made unique in your own self. You see what I'm saying? Like, and we do that to ourselves because of how we raised, what you're being told as a child, how you being raised as a child. So whoever feel like they not enough, somebody telling them that. You don't just get that. And as a kid, if you're not feeding that kid positivity, they gonna feel like that when they go around people. They gonna see, like, they gonna feel like that's too much for me. I don't like this person because they too confident. And it's not that they too confident, it's just that you lack confidence.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel like you shy. It makes anxiety just flare up out of nowhere because you're scared to be around people. You see what I'm saying? Like, it does a lot to your psyche.
Yeah, I mean, I'm full-time. I'm a mental health therapist, so yeah, I understand all of that. But what is strange, because looking in, Americans, black kids seem to have a lot of confidence. Almost like always talking mouth in. Yeah. So I would have been surprised the fact that you saying you're in a situation, you're getting into trouble and all that stuff, that you're like, I thought you'd be more confident in yourself. But then yeah.
It was a lack of confidence. It was like I felt like I needed to be a clown to be approved of. I had to be loud. You see what I'm saying? Like, I had to make myself be known instead of just being myself. You see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have to do none of that stuff. I don't have to do none of this stuff now, like, at all.
Yeah. But back then, was there anyone who? Because and I think this is where you'd assume a manager or a guardian or so, a godfather, would pull you aside and say, "Dude, what are you doing, man? You need to," and try and ground you and stuff. Was anyone around to pull out what you were doing and try and give you some straight?
No. It was basically when I told them I was having problems. I told the label, I told my manager, everybody like, man, you better suck that up.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when the group, I was like, I don't care no more. Because if you guys don't care about what's happening to me, I cannot stick with this, bro. Because I'm not gonna hurt myself. Like, and this was like around about the point my pops had passed and all that, and it's like, nah, if y'all don't care about me, man, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Because when we first before we got signed, we were all singers, like all four of us.
Yeah.
When we got signed, the label turned us into me a lead singer and everybody else just in the background.
Yeah.
And I wasn't with that either. Joe was the only producer that put us in the studio and made everybody do their part. A lot of that other stuff would be me doing all the backgrounds and me doing the leads because that's what the label wanted, and they wanted us to move fast.
So now that's very interesting, because I remember watching the New Edition story and seeing Ralph having to do all that stuff, and I always wonder when you look at SWV and you look at all the other groups, and everyone comes in as a singer, as a vocalist, but you just have the one person. And I remember hearing Big Bob talk about how hard it was for him. He grew up with the group Today. These were his three best friends. Yet the label pushed him as the main guy. You're gonna dress differently, and they all be your back, like Big Bob and the Pips. And he didn't like that, but he knew that was how business was. How did the guys feel when they saw you taking the limelight and they having to play background?
It brought a lot of animosity between us. It put a lot between us because I was always anyway in my room away from everybody. Like, I didn't need to do parties, all this stuff. I was cool. But when we started doing the records and it was all about me, it became like it was a lot on them. Like I say, it was a lot. It broke their confidence in a way. Like, cause they before we got there, they had confidence in themselves. Face knew he knew his parts. Everybody knew they knew their parts. But as soon as we got signed, they was like, don't let them sing. That's heartbreaking. So and sometimes we would go record. I do the whole song, but then I'd be like, Hershey, go do the first verse, and we'll send both versions in. They'll be like, nah, we're gonna keep the first version with L just saying. Like, man, nah, y'all killing it. Like, y'all killing whatever vibe we have. Y'all killing it.
And you guys couldn't do anything about it?
Nah, because if we did, they wouldn't put the record out. You see what I'm saying? Like, they got control over distribution. They got control over a lot of the money. How the producers get paid. You see what I'm saying? Like, we ain't paying for none of this. So it could be like, we can love it, our A&R can love it, but when we send it to the president of the company and he say no, then we got to redo it.
But then, and in hindsight, did the four of you have a conversation saying, guys, how are we going to make through this? Or do we just do this for the first album? Hopefully we'll get more control in the second. And as I mentioned, no guardian, no godfather. How did you guys have that conversation when this was happening?
We were given more control on the second album, but we had a lot of conversations because, like, I got blamed for a lot of the stuff that happened as far as like me singing on the records and stuff like that. And I didn't like that. You know, like, what we mad at each other for? Like, we should be mad at the label because they the ones who doing this. Yeah. But it would bring a lot of arguments. Like, we ain't never get into nothing physically, but we argued a lot, especially during like the recording towards the end of the second album. Yeah, we had a lot of talks. No, but it was a certain direction. It was a certain direction we was trying to go in, and again, fighting with the label, and the label pretty much let us and our A&R do what we wanted to do.
But no, back to the first one. When you were doing all the first parts, the parts. Did your managers, Musa, did Red, did they come in?
They was getting a check. That's all they cared about, from what I saw. That was my perspective. They weren't saying them because they didn't want to fight with the label because it's gonna mess up their money. And we got a timeline on when we're trying to get the album out. So it's like everybody's on this timeline.
Yeah.
Everybody. So we're not gonna slow this timeline down because y'all trying to do something special.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the first album, they didn't know who we were. Like, they didn't know what we from the South. We coming to New York. They don't know how to market us. So they were trying to make us the next soft group, like the next Boys and Men. That's why you see us on the first album with these tank tops on with the stripe across the middle. We was like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. But they did this to us. Like, they got us taking photos with our shoes off like this. I don't do that, bro. I got to go back to the South, man. We don't, I can't walk around with this picture out.
But you couldn't do anything, right?
Yeah, nah. They already had, they had a vision of what they was trying to do.
Yeah.
And when we don't have no vision of what we're trying to do, we just want to sing songs. We just going with the flow.
So it's quite challenging because I know in one case, so Michael Bivins talks about, even Boyz II Men talk about when they came out.
He talked to us a lot.
Michael Bivins had them dressed in this sort of prep Yale sort of stuff, which was a good vision because it took them into it. They distinguished themselves from Jodeci, put them more into the people who actually buy a lot more records. So they became a sort of bigger band, but they were more, if they had their way, they would have been like a Jodeci, but then that was marketing and vision, which paid off. So it's understandable in some cases where label would think, how do we make these guys the biggest and best that there are? But you would hope that there's a conversation, there's a sort of bring it on board, there's a let's trust us. If it doesn't work, we'll do it this way.
Back then, it was, especially when we first got signed, I think we were supposed to compete with Dru Hill, but the way they marketed us did not. And then the type of music, like the music, like we were young, but our music sounded old.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like real grown people music, and we couldn't sing that type of stuff to like people that's 20, 19. They don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was back that ass up was out then. It's like that's what they wanted to hear then.
Yeah.
But again, we didn't know what we wanted. We just wanted to sing.
Yeah.
We was just like impressed with being around Joe, going to meet Brian Michael Cox and Jonte Austin and all these people. Like my mind was blown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, who is this? He wrote that song? Oh my Lord.
How well did
Then
the
I
first
walked in
song?
on
You walked in on who?
Jonte Austin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was a songwriter, and he was we had our first album out, and he was sitting writing Creep In for Ideal.
Hmm.
He was writing that song. At the time I walked in the studio. So when I heard the song, I was like, this song he was writing. I want that type of music. And that was weird too, because our first album we was out, and Ideal was out too, with the
Yeah.
Get Gone song.
Yeah.
Our songs wasn't doing that well, because we had I Ain't the One out. So I got to see them be like really high, like on stages, like they had crowds, girls going crazy.
Yeah.
I used to go to their shows and stuff, or I go to the after parties and stuff with them, because I hung out with two of the guys in the group. My group members would be mad because I'm hanging out with them. Like, why? Like, I like doing this type of stuff. Like, and I got to see their career from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And the same stuff that happened to them on the Get Gone song is what happened to us on Live.
Yeah, but your first album, it didn't do as good as the label started off. How did that then? Was there more of a say, like, let's have a conversation about what we do, and did you guys have more of an input?
No, it was just, let's get to the second album, because we knew that album was done. Like, after I Ain't the One came out, and I think they tried to put out Whispers in the Dark. They let it run for a minute, but they didn't want to shoot a video to it. And I think they took the money that we had left in our budget and gave it to Brian McKnight for Back at One. So it was like, let's just go ahead and get to another record so we can get to a new budget.
Okay.
And with this new budget, we had more of an artistic control of who we worked with. We had more of a visual control as far as like how we wanted the videos to look and the clothing. Like, at that time, they had us going out with that same black stuff that we got on the first album, like that leather stuff. And it was summertime, so it was way too hot for us to have this stuff on. So we was sponsored by Reebok and Nike at the time too. And they sent us a lot of like jumpsuits and stuff. So we used to go out and perform in that stuff, like during that time. Like when we went out, I think we was with Big Pun in Cincinnati. Yep. We had on like jumpsuits, and the fans was going crazy.
Okay.
We was like, they like this. They don't want to see us in this leather matrix stuff.
Yeah.
So we started, when we went back to our A&R, and our marketing director, Lynn Scott, Lynn got us a bunch of magazines, so we started tearing out stuff that we liked.
Okay.
And they went and found some stylists that got their stuff for us. And that's why we look more urban on the second album. We got on jerseys and Timbs and all that. Like, cause we was like, man, we need to dress down.
Yeah. So then,
like, we too classy.
So when you were doing, so when you were recording the second album, so you had two tracks with Teddy. Whose idea was it to get him? Because the songs were written by Hamilton. Is it
Roy Hamilton?
Yeah.
Roy Hamilton and Bishop. They were produced by Roy Hamilton.
Okay.
Let me just get that out there. When we got the records were the track and all that was done and wrote. Like Roy Hamilton and Bishop wrote it. He was in a group called Talent that was signed to R. Kelly during the time. So when they brought us the record, we recorded the records, and Kedar sent them to Teddy. And that's where the vocal order and the oops and all that stuff happened in the drops. Like, there wasn't none of that in there when he got it.
Okay. Did it sound completely different?
Yeah, when he put the drops in it, we was like, oh yeah, okay, all right, yes. Okay, cool, yeah, cool. Thank you. We needed that. That's beautiful.
Okay.
And I think he had us to come back. Yeah, I had to go back to Virginia to re-record like certain parts that he wanted me to re-record.
Okay.
Because Teddy is he's a feeling genius. Like in the records, when you hear somebody like saying something real cool that Teddy produced, maybe Teddy told him to do that, because he did that to me a lot on Liar and Damn, especially on the remix. Because I was in there by myself with him on that
one. Wow.
But he told me a lot of the stuff to do. And I was like, oh, okay. That's just feeling. Like, you ain't really singing. It's what dudes would do if they drunk and they sang this song in the club. Like,
well, yeah.
Just make it sound good in the song. Like,
Yeah, yeah. You know, you listen to if you heard Keith Sweat's "Make It Last Forever," the Debbie McGee who sings the vocals. She was saying how Teddy was telling her how to do the sort of the stuff that, and he's just
Like
what
if you,
20 years old or something like that.
yep, like towards the end when you hear, "I want our love to last a lifetime." Man, Teddy told Keith to do that.
Mm.
Like those type of things. Like he's good at moments in the record, creating moments where you be like, I remember that. Like
Yeah.
if you listen to No Diggity, Ted ain't really singing that song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He kind of talks singing.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
way you work, yeah, you ain't got to sing that.
So now here's the other thing, because you said that you went back to Virginia, so the guys didn't get to go back with you to see him to record and stuff. Now, so the still issues were still happening where they were separating you from the rest of the guys.
Now, to me, now let me just say this. Let me preface this before I say it. To me, after our first encounter with Teddy in the studio, they ain't want all of us to be around him no more because he told us a lot of stuff. That when you get too much information, you are powerful. And Teddy gave us a lot of information in our first sit down with him after we got through recording. We stayed in the studio with him for like 2 hours, and he just talked to us
About the business,
about our business, about our managers, about our lawyers, about all that. And we made a shift within probably like a couple months with our manager, our lawyer, with the label. Like I became a dick with them. Like, because we fired our manager, we fired Reggie, and we was going through some litigation with Musa because we was trying to fire him, but he wasn't trying to let it go. And we brought in Kedar's sister to she was gonna be our manager. Her and Shantae, they were gonna start a management company and they was gonna manage us. But that turned into a money play where they made them break that up.
Wow.
If they would have did that, we would have been able to have way more control.
Yeah.
Over the records.
So you got a lot more information. Was this so? But then, as a full group, as a group though, because you were going in more so, did they feel like, man, why is he still going? But were you guys a lot more coordinated? As it, look, it's not my fault. You know, the label's doing this. Second album.
We were. I was trying to explain it, but it always looked like I was trying to go do something different.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? To them, no matter what I did, if I went and sung a hook for a rapper, if I went and did something different, if I went and demoed a song, it always looked like I was trying to do something different to them. Which I was doing all this stuff before I got in the group, before I got a deal. I was always singing hooks for rappers and stuff around here. So.
But it is part of marketing, because Cisco, Drew Hill, they just pulled him aside because it's like, oh, they did it the same with Ralph. It's almost as if we got a figure here, we can pull everyone across. And so this is labels just trying to make money and trying to protect their asset and stuff. It's not best, it's not great, but this is how they do it. When you finish with Liar and Damn, and you finish the record, and Liar gets released out. Now, I guess before it even comes out, when they bring a song that says, "I'm taking the house, the car, the dog, and the kids, I want it," did you not think, okay, this is crazy? Because that is the most unrealistic sort of funny sort of thing I've ever seen.
Tell you something funny. We didn't mind recording the record. We love recording the record. But when they started talking about making it a single, we was like, no. We was like, no, don't do that. Like, no, bro. Like, you gonna have everybody mad at us. But Keith sat down and he said something real simple. He said, all right, I put y'all career in y'all hands. Y'all pick the single in. We was like, nah, you go ahead, bro. Like, nah, you ain't gonna blame us for messing this up. Like, nah, we gonna let you do it. Like, you good. So he did it, and we was like, but Teddy told us before we left the studio, this song gonna be all right. Like, before it even came out, like Teddy told us, he was like, this song gonna be all right. Y'all gonna be all right with this one. I was like, what do you mean? And probably like 3 weeks later, it was #1. No, before the video came out, ended.
Yeah. I mean, were you surprised by how well it was received? I mean,
Yes, yeah. And we what let us know it's gonna be okay. We was in Houston at the at Six Flags, and we had a performance there, and we did our whole show from our first album. Then nobody moved. Like they didn't want to hear that. So as soon as we did Liar, and this was like the recording from the studio, like we didn't master it, none of this. We just had to record. And our A&R say, do Liar. So we did Liar. Everybody in the crowd, when we doing this in the video, we got this from the people in the crowd.
Are you kidding me?
Okay. When we first started singing that song, they was doing it. You know, they was doing this at the stage while we were singing. We were like, okay, yeah, this is all right. This is working.
Wow.
So mind you, we up there for 45 minutes. We did like 3 songs. Ain't nobody moved. They talking to each other. So as soon as this song come on, they like, yeah. Like, oh, okay. And then she called Keita and told him, she was like, yeah, this song gonna be all right, because they just went crazy. And that we knew. Like, it's like, okay. It's the energy that happens when the song come on. That's how you know. Like,
was it good that you've had your first album and then the second album actually gets a big hit and stuff? Was it better? Were you guys prepared for it better, or would you prefer to be in the first album that Liar was on?
Performance-wise, yeah. Like I felt like we were so much more prepared as performers. But business-wise, nah. I wish it would have been on the first album.
Okay, why is that?
It's like Liar paid for the first album. See what I'm saying? Like the first album didn't do well, but Liar did well, so it paid them back for the money that we spent on the first album.
Okay.
So now we just owe for the second album. You see what I'm saying? Like we wasn't in the buying for both. We paid y'all back for this one. That's why we still get money now. Like, cause that Liar song, it's still being spent right now. I still get like $17, $32, something.
Yeah.
But it's if it would have been on the first album, we wouldn't have we would have had to just follow up. You see what I'm saying? Like, and our back end would have been more.
Yeah.
First album. You see what I'm saying?
And the reason I asked you that, because I asked a lot of people about the hits, would they prefer it being on their first or second album, and everyone says they want it as soon as quickly. You know, a hit is a hit.
Yeah, like if it would have came out first, that would have been our first song. That would have been a hit. Like we would have been solidified in the business with that song. Like because it came on our second album, that's why people kind of look over us a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like they only had one hit and it came on their second album. But if it would have came on that first album and then we would have followed it up on the second album with another one, oh yeah, we would have been good.
Okay. Yeah, so that's really interesting. I guess so you Liar becomes big, and I think Damn does well as well. How does that do? Not as big as Liar, because Liar was massive.
We felt like Damn could have been a bigger record, but they messed up the market. When they started sending it out and it didn't say Damn, it said Jam. We was like, nah, that's you killing the vibe of the record. Like, and people not gonna get it. They're not gonna get the record when you do that. See what I'm saying? When people listen to the record as it is saying Damn, they understand the context of the song.
Yeah.
But when they're hearing it say Jam, 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 that's throwing them off. Like, it's way different.
Oh, I didn't realize they changed the name from Damn to Jam.
Yeah. In certain markets they was sending it out like that. Like the video was beautiful. We was like, yeah, this video is nice. We're gonna be able to do it off this one. But when they started sending the record out, like in the Midwest and stuff like that, and they said it was because Teddy got a song with a guy called Jam. It'll be great. We was like, nah, bro. This is not what you're supposed to do with this type of song.
Yeah.
But again, with you not having no control over the production and stuff like that and the way they send it out, you just gotta rock with. And then when people saying, man, why y'all made it say Jam? Oh, don't ask me that. I didn't.
Did you guys get to do any writing on any of the albums?
On the second album, we just did the thank you at the end. Like I produced that, and that's about it.
Okay.
Because at the beginning of the second album, they found out that we didn't have a publishing agreement together. So they was like, I don't know if I want to keep them in the studio by themselves, because they'll own that.
Okay. So, but then were you learning about the business side, the publishing side, and all that stuff at this stuff?
Yes, yes. During that time, like we understood, like when we found out, because they was talking about, man, we were just gonna put y'all in the studio and let y'all produce some records. Like, we have some songs that we own. They was like, nah, we don't own half. I was like, nah, no, y'all won't. We don't have a publishing agreement. So we were standing in Keto office when we had the discussion. So they had to go, Kojo had to go look at our file and see if we had a publishing agreement. And he was like, no, we don't. I was like, man, we didn't sign it. We just signed a record deal. That was one of those uncomfortable conversations that we had to have with not just the group, with us and the president of the label.
Wow.
But after that, we didn't start producing and writing and stuff until like the third album that we tried to put out independently.
Okay. So after the second album, did you part companies with Motown?
Yes, we did. After we went on tour with Cash Money and Nelly, and the label put together. Then after that tour, and they started talking about a third album, but they couldn't give us no advance. And I was like, well, I can't do it. And the rest of the group was saying we need to have a deal in place before we say no to Motown. And I made a simple statement of, until we able to all stand on our own too, and it's not all on me, I can't do this no more. And I left. I went to Chicago after that.
No, but you wanted the four of you to be part of it, or what was the difference in opinions?
It was just they wanted to like have a deal in place before we left Motown, so we wouldn't just be out here without a deal. I didn't care about having a deal at that point because I feel like I worked so much, and that was right after my dad's funeral, and I seen something that I didn't like. So when I got the chance to leave, I left. When it was like, well, if you don't want to do it, we'll send y'all the paperwork to let y'all go. I was like, cool.
Oh, this is Motown telling you that we'll let you guys go.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned
I didn't want to do a third album. I didn't want to do a third album. Y'all, they wasn't gonna pay us for a third album. They were just gonna give us a recording budget, and then you never know what that budget was gonna entail. You don't know what the marketing budget was gonna be with them, because you're not gonna get more money if you're not selling more records. So all the money was gonna go down. So to me, logically, it didn't make sense for me to stay in like a slave deal just to say I got a deal.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's very interesting that you're saying this because, you know, Prince was one of the biggest ones to first talk about being a slave to Warner Brothers. Then around 2002, Michael Jackson says Sony the same sort of thing because they won't promote his album and they own it. They, you know, there's disagreement. And now we start to see a lot of other people say, you know, Jaheim stopped recording because he's like, look, I own it, I create all this stuff, and you guys own it, and you can. I think even had Ne-Yo talk about. They wanted him to sound like someone else, and they shelved his album and didn't release it.
Yep.
And so that's the balance that you have, especially within R&B and stuff. They don't really do that to rap and hip hop as much, but they do it mainly with R&B. They really try and control.
Because, you know, in most of the rapping stuff, most of the rappers, I ain't gonna say all of them, but a lot of them, they write their own stuff. So it's like they have to negotiate a publishing deal with them. You see what I'm saying? Like, because you're not just talking to somebody that's just hitting notes. All of these rappers, these are their thoughts. They pen this. So they gotta get them a bag. They gotta get them a check. But with R&B people, most of these people just sing a song. You can do a cover song. You see what I'm saying? Like, and not get paid. You can put it out and all that. But you don't own that publishing. All you're gonna do is get shows off of it. So, and man, I say any corporation is about manipulation with its people. So if they can manipulate you with their money, they will.
Yeah.
So just be mindful of the deal that you get into. I tell anybody that. And our deals wasn't bad. They was standard.
Standard, yeah.
Yeah, it was just the people that worked on the projects. Like during that time when we got signed, it was a merger that happened between a lot of record labels at that time.
Yeah,
a lot of.
Yeah,
that's
Universal
how Motown ended up under Universal. Yeah, Polygram went down.
Yeah,
it was a lot
MCA,
of people.
Uptown.
Yeah, all of them. A lot of them people lost their lives. A lot of people lost their, you know, it was people, like I seen somebody have a bag like this full of pink slips that they was taking to somebody at a lake.
Wow.
During this time. Like, and it was a lot going on. So a lot of new people that had to work together. These people didn't like each other, but they had to work together. They had to get along to try to get these projects out. You see what I'm saying? Then you got a label like Motown. It's been around for years. It's an expectation that came with that label. And when we're new artists, but you got Diana Ross, you got Stevie Wonder, you got Smokey Robinson, Temptations. All these people projects coming out regardless of what you feel. You see what I'm saying? These are the reasons that Motown is still standing. So you can be a new artist if you want to. We'll give you a budget, but if this music ain't good enough, we're gonna move this budget over to somebody else. And that's what they would do. Like that's how they took our money. Because we was out on the road and we found that out.
So when you guys made you decided, look, personal issues, you spoke about the mental health stuff, especially when you started off, and I'm sure it was still going throughout the years, and then the pressures of life and stuff. You took a decision
at this point.
Pardon?
Yeah, I was depressed at this point.
And I think back in those days, a black man doesn't get depressed. Black people don't have mental health issues, so you need to suck it up.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm hopeful that it's a lot better now. But back then, those labels weren't saying, we'll send you to a psychiatrist, we'll get you a counselor. They were like, okay, that you must be making this up. You've got all this opportunity and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta suck this up, man, because we gotta go make this money. That's basically what it was. Like, we care about you, but we got a show tonight.
Yeah,
the show must go on. Like, and I had to become selfish with myself. Like you can't do this to me if I don't let you do it. And when I seen, like, after my pops passed, man, that opened my eyes to a lot. Like, I gotta stop, like, because I could have hurt myself at the time, like the way I was thinking, and I knew I could, and I wanted to, and that's why I tried to reach out to people.
Yeah.
And people be like, you just wanted sympathy. No, I had dreams, I had visions of me hurting myself, bro. And if I think like that, that means I could do something to myself, and I need to tell somebody. If y'all not taking me serious, that's not my fault. It's your fault if something happened to me. That's why I'm telling you. But everybody like, you gotta suck it up. So I was like, nah, bro, I'm cool. And that's why, like, I need to remove myself from this before I do something to myself, because this ain't healthy.
Now, listening to this, I as I mentioned, this is when I'm, next thing in the morning, I'm back in work, treating people with depression, anxiety, and stuff. Where did you get that sort of determination and clarity of mind to say, I know where I'm going, I need to take a break and move on? Because most people would still go with the flow, and they'll try and we use other things to distract them. So drugs and alcohol and prostitution, or all women, whatever it is, just so that they can continue.
I was indulging. I was indulging in my vices. Don't get me wrong. And that let me know I had a problem, because I was getting more and more into my vices than I was into my craft. See what I'm saying? Like, when I started relying more on that than trying to pick up my guitar and trying to relax, I knew I had a problem. Like, I don't know what made me I think it was my spirit, man. My spirit told me it's time to go. Like, I gotta leave. Like, I can't be around these same people. Either I'm gonna hurt one of them or I'm gonna hurt myself.
Yeah.
I've never been a violent person, but I know inside of myself when something is happening that's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah. And so you make a decision to leave. How did you feel afterwards? After you said, what was the sense afterwards, making that decision?
I was in limbo, but I felt free. Like, it was a freedom that came with it. I was scared, like, because I didn't know what was gonna happen next. But I knew I could go to Chicago. I had a friend out there who offered me some work, so I went out there and did some work. It was like the stuff I did before I got a deal. It was like the same. I went to a rapper house, and we'll sit down and write a hook, and I record for him, and we'll finish the song, go back to the room, whatever. It just felt like I was back in high school. Like, I didn't feel the pressures of people telling me I can't talk like this, I can't act like this, you're being too hyper, you need to calm down. And I was like, I don't know. It was a freedom though. I felt very free. And then the people around me was encouraging me to be who I was.
Yeah.
Like, did nobody try to suppress me? Like, yeah, man, come on, do that. Like, I was like, yeah, I I felt like I was being myself instead of being what people wanted me to be.
Did you get any help with for the depression and stuff? Any professional help?
Now I just I learned how to meditate and take time to myself. Like, might take a couple days, but I need to sit and figure out what's going on inside my spirit. Like, if I'm mad at somebody, I need to take time, like, to figure out why I'm mad at that person. Is this something about me, or did they do something to me? If they did, can it be forgiven? You know what I mean? Like, self accountability. Like, a lot of us stay in our own misery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because we can, and then we try to drag other people in it to feel sorry for us. And once I realized that a lot of my problems was mine, like, it wasn't my mama's, it wasn't my daddy's, it wasn't my group members. This is my problem. I gotta fix this.
Yeah.
I sit down and, you know, take a stock of my life and see what I've done. What can I do now to rectify a lot of the mistakes I made and fix who I was. Like, I used to go off the handle sometimes just based on what I thought. Like, I didn't sit down and think about it. But now I take time. I take time and make sure I'm not hurting nobody's feelings. Like, because all of that says something about me. So I know now to think before I speak, think before I act.
So
not being a dick.
Yeah, I mean, the question then becomes that you've, you know, unlike the rest of us who have, you know, go to 9-to-5 jobs and stuff like that. If we lose one job, we go get another job. As a musician, when you lose your record deal, then you've left the band, which would generally give you concerts, even if you don't have a record deal, you can still do shows. You know, unless you're doing producing and writing for other people, you start wondering, okay, how do I move forward and how do I make a living? Did you then have a plan as, okay, what am I going to do long term to sustain myself?
I didn't. What I did when I went to Chicago, I did that music. I left there and went to Connecticut and worked with a producer. What dude name? What's his name? Man, Gerald Isaac. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I went and worked with him for a few months and did some backgrounds and stuff. Again, like, I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was up in the air. I had no idea. I didn't have no plan. I just knew when people called me for work, I went and did that work. So it was just, I knew I had relationships that I can cash in on.
Okay.
So those people called me, hey man, can you come do some backgrounds? Some of those backgrounds ended up on major records, on major artists like Gerald Levert, Keith Sweat, and stuff like that. So I was able to get a check to go record and get another bag when the label picked it up. So it was like, up until probably like 30, until I turned 30, like, I was making money just singing background for people in the studio. Because I was comfortable doing it. Like, that was an easy job. I ain't have to be in front of no camera. I could dress how I wanted to. Like, I could be a human being instead of being a commodity.
Yeah. And you didn't miss the limelight and the videos?
Nah. I miss the videos because I like working on the sets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy it. It wasn't about being in front of the camera though. Nah, I didn't miss that.
Okay.
I miss the work. You see what I'm saying? Like, if anything, I miss like the video girls. But yeah, I just miss the work. Like, I miss being in the studio. I miss being like around people like Joe, like, and learning from those people. But even with Gerald, I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
I learned more about production in the studio, like, outside of singing into the mic, like compressors and delays, and like, I went into all this stuff until I started working with him.
So then, how did things start to where you are now? What's been the journey now, so career-wise?
Man, really, it took me a long time to get back to a place where I was happy with myself because of, again, being in your own misery. If you want to get out, you can, but if you don't, you'll stay in. And I wanted to get out. So I put myself around some people, some great musicians, dude named Tashaka Stills, and my guitarist, Jamil Davis. They my band right now, front cover band, and we just a cover band, and but we work every weekend, probably like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We performing, like
Wow.
make good money. So I can't complain. Like I'm working on some original music right now, but again, it's taking me so long to want to record some original music because I've tried to do it, but it was the content that I want to put out, and I can't
Yeah.
put it out until it feel right. Like it
Yeah.
ain't about the money; it's about what it make people feel. Like a lot of people doing anything right now for money. They're putting anything out, and I don't appreciate it. Like it
Yeah.
saturates the market, like where you gotta look for good music.
Yeah.
The market used to determine what was good. Now they
Yeah.
don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when we came up, the market determined what was good and what was sold.
Yeah.
But now anybody can put a song on Spotify, Apple Music, no matter
Yeah.
how good or bad it sounds. And that's not good for the marketplace. That makes it hard for. I knew it was gonna be bad when I started seeing all these rappers singing. When I seen Ja Rule and 50 Cent, I was like, man, they finna make it hard for R&B dudes, bro.
Well, you know what? I think if you go back to when Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, when they came out, they were very low budgets. Production was very low, but they were selling 10 million albums. The labels said, look, we don't have to invest so much and we can make so much more because R&B, you nurture R&B. R&B is like a farm. You need to help with the writing. You know, you can go gold one year, the next album can go gold, and they were fine with that. They were growing you and stuff like that. But when they could see you could sell 10 million if you just get some kids who could dance and look hot, you know, so they said, and then hip hop was the same, is where there wasn't much need for investing in a producer. You just get beats, you just build something around them. And so they said, look, they're businesses. So like any corporation, we need to make money with little costs. And so that's where it became R&B, it's hip hop, and even Billboard changed it from they merged hip hop and R&B as on the chart. So unlike country music, which has protected its own, you know, black and rock. Black, yeah, and rock, but black music has been like, you know, they've taken away R&B, they've put in sort of the hip hop, more pop stuff. So unfortunately, so that's why you get a lot of people who are still fans of New Jack and fans of the 90s. They go to those revival shows and they listen to the old stuff because they realize the new stuff that comes out is just hits, one hit wonder, and it's not long lasting. And so that's why we're not getting the great stuff and people, you know. But the kids who are buying it, suburban kids, you know, doesn't matter whether they're white or stuff, but they have the money. They're not really. They're looking for, this is hot right now. We'll get it. It's good, and they get rid of it next week and stuff.
The next TikTok song.
Yeah. So that's unfortunately what we're living with and stuff like that.
That's the attention span of our youth, though. The attention span is so short. Like, to the next post. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they mind like a news feed.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's so I think just finally as we sort of wrap up, because you know you've given me more than I expected, especially, you know, the fact that I'm, as a therapist, hearing your story is really amazing, because we're getting this with athletes who struggle with mental health and stuff, and they're talking about it. Not many artists talk about the struggles in the limelight.
Because there ain't no money in it. There ain't no money in it. You know what I mean? Like, people don't want to talk about it because they don't want to look crazy. They can mess up their views. They can mess up their fan base. Like, I don't care about a fan base, man. I need people to know that, like, when you going for a deal, ownership should be your number one priority. Ownership of everything you can own. Because right now they signing these 360 deals where they signing their whole career away. Yeah. And but it's an industry standard now. And it's like, nah, bro, just because it's standard don't mean you got to get it. Like, you create your own way. They might not like it, but they're going to have to respect it.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, that's you know, it's I don't want to start naming names of who's really pushed it and who's made it more accessible that people are signing these things around. But you are right about ownership, because I think it's only when I got onto social media the last couple of months that an artist plays a song that they wrote, that they produced and created, but it would say you can only play 29 seconds of it, because guess what? The label who put it out actually own 80% of this. Even though you're the one who did all the work, they actually have the ownership of it, and they can dictate where it's played and for how long it's played, and you have no power to stop that.
And you don't know about the underlying licensing deals that they can deal with your material in other places. Like, cause you don't, if you're not going to these countries, you're not gonna hear your music.
Yeah.
But they selling your music in movies in other countries. They got other people singing it in different languages, and you don't even know, and they made money off of it. Like,
yeah,
they take your material, like they take your stuff.
Yeah.
When we first got it's weird. It's weird how many songs that I've seen people try to take, and it'd be songs on the radio. I'd be like, wow, you just gonna re-record this in the studio and try to put it out on? I'm not doing that. Nah. But it's a cutthroat game sometimes. Like, deal with people with integrity, man, and real integrity. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not a lot of people out there with some, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to trust people.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna say labels did that to me. Life did that to me. Like, you trust people, let your light shine, but sometimes just watch yourself, man. Everybody not out for your best interest.
So would you still try and go independent, release your own stuff eventually when you're in the right spoon and just put it out and stuff?
Hold on, say that one more time.
Will you still plan to release your own stuff independently when you're in the right position and right?
Yes, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm looking to probably do it in the second quarter next year, because I'm working on some stuff right now. But yeah, I'm excited about it too, because I got a team now. I got people that I'm working with that I trust, and people that motivate me to stay writing. Like, I've been writing way more than I ever have in the last few years. My ideas are great, I have to say. I can't wait for people to hear them. I'm excited and scared, because it's been such a long time that I put music out, but I think I have an audience of people that will respect what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. Now, I think finally everyone would want to know, you had 3 guys who you've known since high school, since you were kids, and business. We've watched the 5 Heartbeats. We say stuff. Even New Edition got back together, but not having to get back together, but having a conversation. What's been like with the other 3 for you?
Man, everybody, I have to say, everybody's doing well. Because I talked to all 3 of them. We still talk to this day.
That's good.
Yeah, it's no hating in nobody. Like, we communicate, and they doing well. I think Hershey is working. I don't know what face it. Last time I seen him, I talked to him like a week ago, but I think he was in Jamaica or something. And baby boy, I think he's moving back to Texas, because he's working. I think he's starting a security company. So everybody's doing well, man. It's just when we made a decision to not be in the industry no more, it wasn't because of the music. It was because of the business. Like, it was because of the industry. Like, I like being a human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? Like, I like being able to talk to people and go places that I want to go, not having a bunch of people running up to me. Like, that became a problem for me. Like, because when there was people shaking our bus and all that, I hated it. Like, I don't want this.
Yeah, but did they recognize that what you were going through, they couldn't see them? They were in a better position to say, "Wow, we actually didn't know what you're going through," and
Well, this is my first time talking about it. I ain't talking about this. Like, yeah, I don't. That stuff is for me to deal with. Like, we know, like, we'd had conversations about what happened. Like, we talked about it. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, it's not something that we dwell on. You know what I mean? Like, everybody understands. They know I'm crazy, but not like crazy, but but they know how I talk. They know that I'm passionate. You see what I'm saying? Like, we all have an understanding of each other now that we didn't have back then.
Yeah.
Like, we push each other. Like, and that's what I told a good friend of mine. Like, you seen the Jordan documentary?
The which one?
The Michael Jordan documentary?
Yes. Yeah.
I was Michael Jordan, and they was the Bulls.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was kind of, I was a bit overbearing because I wanted us to win. And then I didn't see how much it affected them.
Okay.
Like what the label did to them, plus what I was saying, you know what I mean? Like that's why they was mad at me. Like it was kind of like I was reinforcing what the label was saying to them,
Okay. Okay.
which wasn't healthy for our relationship. And I
Yeah.
was just only seeing it one way as the win. Like, this how we gonna win. We gotta do this. And they was like, nah, man, you gotta learn how to talk to me. Like, you can't talk to me like this.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
So it was,
Okay.
and I had to really understand who I was and what I brought to that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, when I wrap up every session, I always ask the guest that if you were stuck in an elevator and for like 2 or 3 hours, and they say, "Look, we're gonna get you before we get you out. We can put a movie on for you. What film would you request to watch?"
Life.
Okay, the Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because it's about 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
And it's funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I may have to go watch that.
Man, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is. But before they put the movie on, they say, "Look, we can put a track on just as we get the movie ready." What song would you request to listen to?
Giving Up by Donny Hathaway.
Okay, I don't know that one. Okay.
Yeah, go check it out. It's a nice song. It's kind of dark, but it's a very nice song. His tone is very nice. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll do it. But it's always good to see that everyone has a very unique and broad taste of kind of music and films. And then it's easy to say what's your favorite song ever, but I think having to ask the question in a situation, it brings out a different type of song and film that people pick and choose.
Right.
Yes. You know, it's been great speaking to you. It's been fascinating. I think it's hearing your journey. I mean, I think, you know, when I set up this show, it was to get this type of information, but we don't normally get guests who have lived it through like what you've experienced and with the honesty and stuff. And I think it's going to be stuff that will help a lot of people who
I
are
hope it does.
in the industry, but not just in the industry, but just men, especially black men. You know, even in 2020, we're still underrepresented when we're in mental health. Very few of us are black therapists. Very few of us come forward because we think it's a taboo. So, you know, it's been encouraging and hearing you share with the honesty and openness.
Well, thank you once again for having me, man. I really appreciate you letting me share my story. You know, because somebody need to hear it. Like, you know, I don't know who, but somebody need to hear it. And I appreciate you giving me a chance to be on your platform and share it.
Yeah, well, you know what I hope is that when you're about to release your stuff, that you'd give us an opportunity to bring you back again and see, you know, because life would have changed and what you're like writing about would have been different and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
if people want to, because you say you play 3 times a week, where can people check you guys out? But is it after COVID?
They can look us up on. Hold on, say that again. After COVID.
Yeah. Is it now that you're performing, or is it
Yeah, we're performing right now. We got a show tomorrow. We got a show Saturday and Sunday. They can follow us on Front Cover Band Worldwide on Instagram, or Front Cover Band on Facebook.
Okay.
And they can follow me on Instagram, LJ318, LJAI. That's how I spell it. 318. You can follow me on all social platforms.
Okay.